this week on Unscripted. All the recent news coming out of WWE this week, from the AEW slip-up on Raw to WWE's reaction to Jon Moxley's Talk Is Jericho podcast. Speaking of that, we also have Jon Moxley burying WWE on Talk Is Jericho, and Double or Nothing pay-per-view buys have been revealed. What are they and how well did they do? We'll talk about it later. This and more this week on Unscripted, episode 72 for June 1st, 2019. What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for episode 72 of Unscripted for June 1st, 2019. Before we get into anything, let's get this out of the way, because this has been talked about yesterday by Paul Heyman. He did come out on social media and announced that due to Stephanie McMahon and the McMahon family having a meeting to complain about Brock Lesnar pretty much being a troll when it comes to the Money in the Bank ladder match, the Money in the Bank, that his client will be cashing in on Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. This is a joke, right? This is WWE's way to get those ratings up. WWE had the second lowest ratings of the year for Monday Night Raw this past Monday. Do not tell me, oh, but it was a holiday episode. It's Memorial Day. Bullshit. This was 2 nights after AEW had the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, and you gave the fans, whether it was a Memorial Day, whether it was a holiday or not, you gave your fans 51 minutes of nothing but promos and one brawl, and Shane McMahon promo that seemed to drag on forever. Then you gave us about a minute and a half of Shane McMahon just humiliating Lance Arnold, and then you had Roman come out to save him, and that was it. Then you had some promos backstage, and then you had Brock Lesnar back on TV again, and then you had Becky and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics, which was a bad match, not Nikki and Becky Lynch's fault, and that was Monday Night. So why would anyone care? Again, they had the second lowest ratings of the year, only beating out an episode in April. This was not a good show at all. How could you expect this to have anything? Memorial Day's episode of Raw featured Universal Champion Seth Rollins defeating Sami Zayn in the main event, drew an average of 2.19 million viewers, according to Showbuzz Daily. This is down 13% from the 2.521 from last year for the post-Money in the Bank episode, and the second lowest audience of the year. You had Brock Lesnar on this show twice. Actually, he showed up 3 times in a backstage segment later in the show. Maybe he's going to cash in on Seth. And you had a 2.190. I don't think it's Brock Lesnar, Vince. I don't think he helps you. To compare, it was down 12.2% from the 2.494 million for the 2018 Memorial Day show, which at the time was a new low for the year. The 2017 Memorial Day show averaged 2.613 million viewers, which is also a new low for 2017. At that point, the 2016 Memorial Day edition of Raw averaged 3.229 million viewers. For this week's show, the first hour was at 2.265, which dropped from the 2.681 from last week. The second hour drew 2.254, so not a big drop from hour 1 to hour 2, which was 2.583 last week. And the final hour almost just barely stayed above 2 million at 2.051 million viewers. This last week's hour was 2.299. So another, okay, I'm just going to say it right now. This week's drop was not as bad as last week. When you go from 2.681 to 2.299, that's a huge drop. This one was not as bad as Monday Night Raw for last week, where it's only Not even, 2 million. They had 0.209 drop from hour 1 to hour 2, which is not bad, but it's still WWE holding barely. I think the reason they stayed at 2.051, it did not drop to below 2 million, was the Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins main event. Had you had Baron Corbin in the main event again, which, by the way, Baron Corbin is the #1 contender going into Saudi Arabia, which that was, I believe, in the second hour. Of course it was in the second hour. And the rating dropped to a little bit, and then they dropped again. Brock Lesnar could not save the show. Baron Corbin winning a fatal 4-way with 3 losers could not save the show. So, all 4 losers, all 4 guys. You had a fatal 4-way. This is the funny thing. You had a fatal 4-way on this show between Bobby Lashley, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Baron Corbin. You had 4 perennial losers getting a #1 contender shot to see who could face Seth Rollins at Super Showdown. Where was Cesaro? Where was Drew McIntyre? Where was Cedric Alexander? Where was anybody else? This is what you gave me. And you wonder why the ratings are down. This show, I don't even know what to tell you. Let's see here. Again, no thing for the first hour. You had, again, that 51 minutes. You had a brawl you had a beatdown of Kofi Kingston by Dolph Ziggler. Then we go to commercial break. We come back. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods were still in the ring. It started off with Kofi Kingston coming out, and I fucking hate the way they've been doing the Money in the Bank this year, because you have Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston begging and pleading, Brock, oh please Brock, please cash in on me. I would love it if you cashed in on me. Have you ever heard for the other 20 plus people who won money? Have you ever heard the champions come on and be like, please Brock, please cash in on me. I want you to cash in on me. Please cash in on me. Cash in on me. This year has to cash in on me. This just makes Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston sound absolutely pathetic. They sound like fucking children who are begging and pleading that, mommy, I want the better toy. Let me have that toy. I want it. Come on. They should be sitting there trying to become as best as they can with their head and with eyes in the back of their head, waiting to hear Brock Lesnar's music hit as he comes down to cash in. They shouldn't be coming out on a weekly basis like, oh, cash in on me? Cash in on me? Give me a fucking break. These guys should be better than this. You know the biggest thing coming out of Monday Night Raw, the only big thing outside of the Brock Lesnar crash and the fact that they were 51 minutes of the first hour was just a waste. Which, gee, USA, you want the ratings to be back up on the third hour, which still hasn't happened? Get rid of the third hour. Actually, get rid of the first hour. This episode of Monday Night Raw happened 2 days after All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing. Get rid of the first hour. There is no reason to have 3 hours. If this show was 2 hours, I guarantee you that second hour would be up, and this show would have a better rating for it. But when they had this new talk show segment, like what they did last year when Baron Corbin was the acting general manager and he put Alexa Bliss in charge of the women, she came out with Bayley and Sasha Banks and had a question and answer session with the crowd. Bayley and Sasha Banks answered stupid questions from stupid fans or plants. They did that this time. Brian Alvarez has come out onto Wrestling Observer Radio and actually said that these were not plants, these were actual fans. And what they did was you had the 4 interviewers out there pre-screening. What they would do is they would go and was like, what's your question? They asked them the question. With no mic's not on, okay, you can ask that, and then they would have that person come up. So this one wasn't plants. What they did back then was plants, but it was still pretty stupid. This was not a good thing at all. And then WWE did the dumbest thing, and everybody wants to know, was this planted? Sami Zayn drops AEW. He says, you could have asked me anything. You could have even asked me about AEW, and then opened his mouth like, oh, I said a bad word. Oh, I said a very, very bad word. How could I be so mean? How could I be so foolish to say such a thing? There is a lot of confusion coming out of this show. Vince is supposed to be furious at this. Let me be clear right now. Nothing is said on WWE that isn't in the script. And let me also be really clear. WWE live broadcast, every live broadcast that you see on TV at this time, it might change in the future, but there is a 15 second latency delay. Everything you see live is not technically live. It is 15-second delay. With how they work things and how things work, they could have had that bleeped out immediately. Could have just had it like, he said AEW to the live crowd, but we at home just hear beep. That's what we could have heard. But they didn't do that because they wanted to do it. There has been conflicting reports over whether or not Sami Zayn's AEW name drop on this past Monday's Raw was scripted. Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that the line was scripted, but co-host Brian Alvarez said he heard otherwise. PW Insider then reported that several sources said Zayn's AEW line was not scripted and was likely something that Zayn improvised, as he's known to pitch his own verbiage for promos. PW Insider also pointed out to how WWE could have used their 15 seconds of delay to bleep the plug out if they had a real issue with it. Exactly. Anytime you hear, like, back when Kurt Angle, back in, I think it was 2003, 2005, 2006, when Kurt Angle was drafted to Monday Night Raw, and they were doing the "You Suck" thing, and you would, the gimmick was that Eric Bischoff would have somebody backstage bleeping out "You Suck," so every time Kurt Angle would come out and the crowd was chanting "You Suck," you would hear beeps instead, and you would hear beep, beep, and something like that, like beep, because they have a 15-second delay, and they could do it. Even John Cena had a promo where he cut, where it's like you have someone back there hitting a button to bleep out the fans when they chant "You Suck." So yes, if WWE had any real issue with this, that wouldn't have been, we wouldn't have heard it. Now, there would have been, it would have anyway, even if they would have bleeped it out, because fans would have been like, Sami Zayn said AEW on Raw, oh my god. In an update, Ron Lewis noted on Wrestling Observer Live that McMahon was furious when AEW was mentioned live on Raw. However, it fueled the speculation with stories from multiple sources. These are two facts about the situation, alright? There are absolutely people who insist that Sami was given the okay to mention AEW, alright? Alvarez says, I've even heard from one person who said that in the script that went today, it was in the script that he was going to mention AEW. One person said that. I had another person say, and Dave had people tell him that it was a scripted line. Now, with that said, I've heard from multiple people, far more people, in fact, and people that heard from other people that all said the line was not scripted. The line was not supposed to be said. I was also told from multiple people that when it happened, Vince flipped his lid. He was furious that this happened. Okay, so that's literally, those are the two things that I can tell you. So however you want to figure out what the hell is going on here, there's various ways that you can explain this. The one that people seem to think is the most likely is that a small number of people were told that he was given the okay. And they're working the boys and flipping out about it. I don't know the answer, what the answer is. All I know is that some people were told that he was given the okay, but most people said he wasn't. And that Vince flipped out. I wasn't there. I don't know how to flip out. You could. I wasn't to witness it, but I do know that the people who absolutely 100% believe that he was very angry, that this was not to work the boys, that he was angry when this got on the air. I don't know how to explain everything. I just know that's what happened last Monday. If the line was not supposed to be scripted, it was believed that Zayn could face some sort of consequences. Meltzer speculated that he could be suspended. Stay tuned for updates. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now. If Sami Zayn went off script, if he just said, you know what, I'm going to say AEW because I'm friends with some guys over there, I'm friends with people over there, I want to give them a name drop. They're not firing people anymore because they don't want anyone to go to All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan. He would be, as soon as, it would have been that night. As soon as SmackDown Live went on the air, before SmackDown Live went on the air, Sami Zayn would have been suspended. Indefinitely. He would have been suspended for at least 60 days. 30 days to 60 days. He would have been suspended. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This wouldn't be one of those fake suspensions that sees that sees, oh well, he's suspended, but he'll show up anyway, like when they did with Becky Lynch for the Royal from I believe right after WrestleMania right after the Royal Rumble on the way to WrestleMania. It was scripted. Vince McMahon gave the okay, but he's got to play up to the boys. This is just like Brock Lesnar making his surprise return at Money in the Bank. Not everybody's going to know what the hell's going on. Vince McMahon's got his inner circle. Triple H, Vince McMahon, Corey Graves probably knew too because he was the one doing the interview. Stephanie probably knew. Kevin Dunn probably knew. And here's the problem with this, and Brian has pointed this out a couple days ago on the Wrestling Observer, because I do YouTube, Heartland Radio, I think it is, has a YouTube page, and they actually upload the Wrestling Observer live either later that night or the next day. So I got to hear what he had to say, and I've been listening to it lately. He did mention that why the hell would you, and I'm paraphrasing, but why the hell would you even put this into thought? Because if they do an electric chair next week, if on Monday Night Raw we get another electric chair segment, and somebody, because they pre-screen, not like the smart fans, the dumb fans, the dumbasses who go to these things and believe everything, are going to ask stupid questions like, what is your retirement date? Do you miss the ginger snaps? But the smart fans are going to say, yeah, I'm going to ask this question. And then they're going to come up, they'll get the microphone in their face, and they're going to say, what did you think of that tag team match at Double or Nothing 2 weeks ago? What did you think of that brother versus brother match at Double or Nothing? What did you think of Jon Moxley making his debut in AEW? Or if they have, like, say, Alexa Bliss, what did you think of the Fatal 4-Way women tape Double or Nothing? What did you think of the 6-woman Joshi match at Double or Nothing? Do they not fucking think? This was absolutely stupid. This was stupid. Then you have Vince Russo come on Twitter and say, oh, there's no doubt about it, AEW are in bed together. Listen, anybody who believes that delusional fuck, here's the thing. WWE is a publicly traded company. WWE can't hide something like this from anybody. And then my dad's like, oh, Vince McMahon just took a lot of money out to go, way more money than he'll ever need to put together a football league. I'm like, really? Do you know how much a football league takes to run? Didn't think so. Moving on. WWE is a publicly traded company. They can't hide this. When the first quarter reviews came out, it would have been in that document that they're working with AEW. Number 2, AEW just signed a deal to be on Turner Sports. WWE signed 2 really, really good contracts with Fox and USA or NBC Universal. If it came out that these two teams, if it was found out at all, these two companies were in bed together, working together, you would see Fox, USA, and TNT rescind their offers, and WWE and AEW would be fucked. Both, like, TNT, USA, and Fox would all be very fucking pissed. Absolutely pissed. And 3, WWE again, publicly traded company. If this was something WWE tried to hide and didn't tell their investors, and it came out and the investors did not find out through WWE, you know what those investors are going to do? They're going to sell WWE stock, and WWE stock is going to drop out to where WWE stock dies, and WWE, as a publicly traded company, would go bottom up. So anybody who sits there and thinks, "Oh my God, it's true, they're working together," think. WWE, if WWE tried to, like, plain and simple, if WWE tried to even pull that shit off, they have a lot more to lose than AEW does. So anybody, again, who thinks that is actually happening, you are a fucking idiot. You need to get your head checked and go back to fucking playing with Barbie dolls, or go do something else. Go crawl in that rock that you came out from under. Why? Like, getting back on the topic, why was the AEW name dropped on Raw? This is just stupid right here, but it's how WWE goes. And it was in the 3rd hour, and if you noticed again, when Mick Foley came out last week and introduced the 24/7 title, he was introducing the 24/7 title, and also, even though he didn't say this right, instead of saying also the third hour is going to get gritty, dirty, and whatever, he made it sound like the 24/7 title was only going to be seen in the third hour. So that part of this is Foley's fault that people got that confusion. Now, we won the third hour for this electric chair. It was right before the main event, which was Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Unannounced, by the way. WWE officials reportedly scripted Sami Zayn's AEW mention into Monday Night Raw, according to a new report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The idea behind the name drop was to make Raw edgy because someone said something they might not be allowed to say. It's been noted before that AEW mention was edited off the YouTube replay. Of course it was. Not a surprise there. But it was left on the USA Network website and app replay. The mention was also left in the Hulu replay, which is always heavily edited because the Hulu replay is only about 2 hours worth of content, and Raw, of course, is an app. Minus commercials is about two and a half hours. While multiple sources are now reporting that the live was scripted, many, if not most people within the company were told otherwise. It was previously reported that Vince McMahon flipped out because when Sami made the mention, and he did act like he was freaking out, according to the Observer notes that since the buck stops with Vince and WWE, either his behavior was a miscommunication, which is what the Observer was told, or an attempt to work the boys backstage. It was to work the boys. Are you kidding me? It was to work the boys. That's the best you got to be edgy. Oh my God! It's like he said a bad word. Oh my God! Like, how's that edgy? How is that being edgy? That's the best you can do for edginess. You go to get to the edginess. You get to the edgy part by just having Sami Zayn go out there and drop AEW. You want to get edgy? You could have had Brock Lesnar go out there and start beating the hell out of somebody. That's the best you could do, is just have, oh, you can ask me about AEW. I can't believe I said that. That's just like, it was a couple years ago, Rosa Mendes, because I remember Rosa Mendes this happened to. It was on an episode of Main Event, I believe, when it was on the network live, I believe still. Because when the WWE Network first started, they didn't have Tuesday, like SmackDown was taped, of course, on Tuesdays. Main Event for the first few months actually aired live, and I actually watched it just for the hell of it because it was live programming. Well, when WWE Network got sent to the UK, they stopped doing that. But one of the live episodes, Rosa Mendes, I believe, was in a tag team match or in a match with, I can't remember who she was facing. Well, Rosa Mendes was trying to get back into the ring. Her opponent grabbed her tights and pulled him down, exposing her ass. And of course, they went to a black circle to bleep it out. But that was WWE trying to be edgy then. It didn't work. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. This isn't edgy at all. This isn't edgy. Why WWE thinks they have to be edgy to be good is beyond me. Edginess does not work for WWE. You don't have to be edgy. What you need to do to get people to continue to watch your product and actually care about your fucking product, tell compelling stories. Let the superstars tell the stories. You don't know how to figure these guys out. Let them be themselves. Don't sit there and overscript anybody. Stop with the overscripting. Stop insulting your fans' intelligence. Stop having Sami Zayn come out and speak for you. Stop being a coward. Just give us what we want to see. And yes, of course, we can't, what we want doesn't always need to happen. You need to build to what we want eventually. You can't give the fans everything they want every single day, every single week. It just doesn't work like that. That's professional wrestling. If you gave the fans what they wanted every single time, it would get boring and nobody would want to watch it again anyway. But you can't do what you've been doing. Giving Brock Lesnar the Money in the Bank briefcase was a terrible idea. Why did you do that? Because you thought it would bring the ratings up, and it didn't. It brought the ratings down. You had Brock Lesnar on this show twice. First off, I thought the the Brock part at the beginning of the show was funny. Was it the funniest thing I've ever seen? No. But that was good comedy because all he did was go out there and act like a fucking fool. He didn't go out there throwing pancakes. He wasn't cracking toilet humor jokes. He was just being something we've never seen from Brock Lesnar before. And I laughed about it. I thought it was funny. But it's just like having Drake Maverick run around with the R-Truth wanted poster shit. That shit's not funny. The 24/7 title shit is not funny. What Brock Lesnar did at the beginning of the show, I thought was funny, but that's that's what I think. But having things just like relying on old talent, relying on the veteran, on the dinosaurs as they call it, not giving your young talent a chance, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Someone crunched the numbers. I think it was on Reddit. Almost 50 superstars on the main roster have not been on TV for the last 2 or 3 weeks. That is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. One more thing I believe about Monday Night Raw, we had that Fatal 4-Way. It was supposed to be an elimination match. It ended in one pin. Monday Night Raw saw Baron Corbin win a Fatal 4-Way elimination match over Braun Strowman, The Miz, and Bobby Lashley to become the #1 contender for the Universal Championship. Corbin was a replacement for AJ Styles, who is currently out of action with injury. I hope AJ Styles gets better soon. In my opinion, give the guy vacation time. Let the guy go home and rest. He's not to Extreme Rules at the earliest. If you don't want to, you don't have to build him up till SummerSlam. The match ended when Corbin pinned The Miz after Strowman and Lashley brawled to the back to get counted out. Lashley vs. Strowman has been announced for Super Showdown for weeks now, indicating that Corbin or Miz would earn the title shot. PW Insider reports that WWE officials went back and forth throughout the day on whether or not the Fatal 4-Way should have been an elimination or a single fall match. Why not just if you ended it the way you did, why not just do a single fall match? You could have the match could have booked the same exact way. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley go brawl to the back. The argument was made that to protect the talent, there should not be 3 eliminations to a match. The argument eventually won out, and the match was changed to do one finish with Corbin pinning The Miz. Then why call it an elimination match? Somebody fucking tell me this. Why call it an elimination match? All you have to do was say Fatal 4-Way match, and the match could have played out the exact same way. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley brawl to the back. Baron Corbin hits the end of days. 1, 2, 3. The match would have looked no different. Why you put the elimination stipulation on it was beyond me. And also, they never got counted out. Did you ever see the referee sitting there going 1, 2? No. They just brawled to the back, and the next thing you know, the finish happened. So makes me wonder, the fuck did you even make an elimination match? This doesn't protect anybody. This just makes Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley look like idiots. This would have made Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley look like idiots anyway. This doesn't protect anybody and just shows that, again, The Miz is a loser. Just absolute pathetic. Let's see what else we have. Anything else on Monday Night Raw? No. Okay. SmackDown Live, not much happened there this week. Elias and R-Truth traded the 24/7 championship back during Shane McMahon's Appreciation Night. We already had it felt like a 15-20 minute promo for Shane McMahon on Monday in a 1-minute match where he buried Lance on a Y. So why didn't I see him cut a promo on SmackDown Live only for Drew McIntyre and Elias to beat up R-Truth? Elias winning his first championship, which pretty much says WWE saying, "Hey Elias, you're a loser." That's how that felt to me. And then have Roman Reigns and R-Truth versus Elias and Drew McIntyre at the end of the night. Oh, by the way, we're going to take the 24/7 rules and we're going to suspend them for the majority of the show, which that made no sense whatsoever. And something weird that happened and just makes no sense to anybody, Lacey Evans faced off against Bayley. Bayley won. After the match, which right before the match in a promo, you saw Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans having tea time. Legit tea. So Lacey Evans attacks Charlotte and then eats a bare big boot to the face, bare foot to the face. And is Lacey Evans a face now? Is Charlotte Flair a face now? What is going on there? That made no sense to anybody. And Roman Reigns, of course, was in the main event. Let's get this out of the way, too. Goldberg is going to be on SmackDown Live next week. Nobody gives a shit. Now, don't get me wrong. Goldberg making his debut on SmackDown Live would have been great back in the day. Why wouldn't you have Goldberg on Raw and Undertaker on SmackDown? You know, back in the Ruthless Aggression era, those were the brands they were known for. When Undertaker was full time from like the end of 2002 to 2010, he was mostly on SmackDown. Goldberg in his first and second run were on Monday Night Raw. So why is he coming to SmackDown? This is just like when they had the SmackDown 1000. Why was Evolution coming to SmackDown? Somebody asked me that one. But something else that happened on SmackDown Live that wasn't seen on TV was that WWE showed how petty they can be. And honestly, I don't think they should be allowed to do this. During SmackDown Live, it was seen, the first thing you saw when Kevin Owens came out, in the back behind Kevin Owens, you saw a sign that said, "Save us, HHH. Save us, Triple H." Plain as day. Vince McMahon, you deserve that. Then during the Shane McMahon promo, there was, "You aren't MJF." I didn't notice it immediately, saw it later on. But what happened? WWE pettiness decided, well, we're going to get those confiscated. Yeah, I don't think you should be allowed to do that because I paid my ticket to come see your shitty ass show. If I want to put "Save Us Triple H" or "You're Not MJF" or AEW, too fucking bad. There's nothing on there that says I can't put a non-derogatory sign up at any time. Then the attendants noted that the MJF sign was taken by security. Another "Save Us Triple H" sign was also confiscated. One claimed on the Twitter that WWE was taking signs left and right and throwing them during the show. It was also noted that there was a lot of AEW chants at SmackDown and that taking the sign brought on another chant. Yeah, because you know what's going to happen in AEW? People are going to have signs. You know what AEW is going to do? Hey, yeah, go enjoy your sign. If you want to put a WWE sign, fine by us. Keep being petty, Vince. Keep being petty. You know those 3 or 4 signs that you threw away? Those fans aren't going to come back the next time you come around. So, where the hell were they at anyway? I don't remember where they at for SmackDown. So, when you come back to that same town, you just lost 3 fans. AEW comes to that town, those 3 fans are going to, like 2 or 3 fans, they're going to be an AEW show. How's that feel, Vince? Keep pushing your fans away. You're having problem with attendance. That's how you lose attendees. That's how you lose attendance. Have shitty ass shows, terrible customer service, deciding to go, well, I'm just going to take these signs away from you. You want to bring signs that aren't about us? Fuck them. You're just digging a hole for yourself even further down the road. Absolutely ridiculous. Vince needs to grow the hell up. That's all there is to it. Let's see here. Nothing else then about that. Okay, yes, NXT. Nothing on SmackDown really happened this week. Go home show for TakeOver. Kushida vs. Drew Gulak was an absolute submission technical classic. If I want to say 2 matches that I've only seen really a few. I've seen all the Kushida matches in NXT and a couple for the World Cup. I really didn't see much of his New Japan, if any of his New Japan matches. But for what I've seen of Kushida, Drew Gulak versus Kushida and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kushida from the WCPW World Cup for Wrestling from 2017 are my 2 favorite matches for this guy. They were both technical classics. The guy shows that he can change his style to fit anybody. You're like a high flyer. He can match that. You're a technical wizard. He can do that. You're somebody who works on submissions. He can adapt to that. Kushida can adapt to anybody. He is that damn good. Excuse me. Now, with any takeover, this was just a go-home show that lets you show other people off. While, for the most part, guys like the Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano, Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream were not in action. Two-fourths of the Fatal 4-Way were in action in the main event. That didn't go very long as the Undisputed Era and the Street Profits got involved. The Undisputed Era stood tall at the end of the night. And that was NXT. NXT TakeOver 25 is going to be happening tonight. If you haven't already, go check out the predictions I put on the channel. They are up there now. I've done over all 5 matches and who I think is going to win each. So, moving on here to the rest of the news. Other than AEW, I think the very next day, Jon Moxley has been announced for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the GM says the contract with Moxley is independent of AEW. New Japan Pro Wrestling General Manager Michael Craven issued a statement to Sports Illustrated and confirmed that Jon Moxley signed with his New Japan deal a while back. How long is a while back, though? Because he was still in WWE until May 1st. He was in WWE's contract for May 1st. So a while back had to be May 1st. And it had to be this month. So it couldn't have been that long ago. Independently of All Elite Wrestling, Craven added that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling do not have a working relationship right now. The statement read like this. New Japan and Jon Moxley came to terms on the agreement some time ago, completely independently of All Elite. Our understanding is that he is free to wrestle in Japan. We wish AEW well, but we have no relationship as of now. Moxley is also signed to a multi-year AEW deal that will allow him to do indie dates and international dates. Will wrestle his first post-WWE match on June 5th at New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors events. He will face IWGP US Champion Juice Robinson for the title. After months of speculation, Moxley was recently revealed as a mysterious knife-wielding man in the Time's Up video. I didn't see any of the other videos, but I did see this newest one, the Time's Up video. And it threw a lot of people off because there was a Union Jack on the shoulder of the jacket that the mystery man was wearing. So a lot of people speculated it was going to be somebody for the UK. But no, it was Jon Moxley. So New Japan knows what they're doing. They're trying to keep the buzz for New Japan going after what the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, Muddy Skull, and all of them had done with the Bullet Club, and now most of those guys are gone off to AEW. Kenny Omega's not going to be there. He did say he could have worked his AEW contract wouldn't have stopped him from wrestling in the G1 Supercard that they did in Madison Square Garden. I guess he didn't want to do it to help build this company that they're doing right now. But that is going to be interesting. June 5th, that is his first non-WWE match. His first match with the AEW company is going to be at Fyter Fest, which yesterday they did a epilogue to Road to Double or Nothing, and at the end of it, they had a tease for Road to Fyter. So there is 4 weeks from today before we get to Fyter Fest, so I cannot wait for that. Road Dogg, now working full-time on the NXT brand. According to PW Insider, Hall of Famer Road Dogg is now working full-time on the NXT brand. His official role has been confirmed to be a trainer with Triple H. He's not in the creative process with Triple H as of now. So the simple fact is they have a winning formula, and Triple H, as well as anybody who is a fan, knows you don't mess with winners. Don't fix what's not broken. It was reported earlier this month that James has been working at the Performance Center. He also made a cameo at the PC Combine, which is airing on the WWE Network. Last month, James stepped down as the co-lead writer of SmackDown. He quit the position because he was reportedly frustrated with Vince always making changes to the TV scripts. Oh, we'll get into those later. So, good for him. I'm like, Triple H is not going to want to see him go to AEW, and AEW having Road Dogg and Brian James and Kit and Billy Gunn in the same company would be huge for their trainers, especially for young tag teams wanting to come up in this business and be trained under one of the best tag teams that WWE has ever had, one of the best charismatic. I wouldn't say the best in the ring. They want the best ring generals, but they know how to get over how to get over, build a character, build their characters. If you would have had Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg in the same company as coaches, get people like Private Party, the Smash Brothers, they would be beneficial to both Road Dogg and Billy Gunn as a whole. They could come there, pick their guys' brains because these guys were at their peak at the beginning of the Attitude Era. It would be huge for them. But Triple H sees that, and he sees Billy Gunn's working for AEW. Why would he want to have one of his other friends going over there? Just smart by Triple H to get this guy on his team so they didn't lose another one to the other side. Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer were on Sirius XM Busted Open Radio to discuss the revelation that Jon Moxley had joined AEW. With Moxley having left WWE his contract expired. The duo discussed what future wrestlers who want to leave the company might have to do in an effort to keep their out of their deals. Bully Ray says, they say, nobody is getting the release anymore. You're going to have to wait out your contracts, and he did it. He did it the right way. Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer react to Jon Moxley. According to Bully Ray, wrestlers that want to leave the WWE to move on to more independent brands will simply have to wait it out. When you know your time is up, you just have to stare down the barrel of the gun and wait out your deal, which is exactly what he did. He said there's no other way. A couple of other people got the release and were able to wiggle their way out. Nobody is getting the release anymore. You're not going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait it out. And he did it professionally, and he did it the right way. Dreamer added that while the WWE may have pushed Dean Ambrose while he was with the company, there was a creative aspect of things that, because certain superstars also strive for. I understand the frustration, because once you reach that certain amount of goals, then what? Dreamer said. For guys like even myself, it's that creativeness as well, to be able to have a say. I work for a lot of companies. I'm not under contract for anybody because I don't want to be married to that way to anybody. He also pointed out that Tommy Dreamer pointed out that nobody can tell Tommy Dreamer how to be Tommy Dreamer. Only Tommy Dreamer knows how to be Tommy Dreamer. So working for an AEW full time, or a Impact Wrestling full time, or WWE or New Japan full time. When you first start out for someone like Tommy Dreamer, yeah, it'd be fine, but then eventually they're going to try and tell you how to work yourself. And Tommy Dreamer doesn't want that. Tommy Dreamer owns House of Hardcore too, so that's the only company he's really married to is the one that he owns himself, and that is House of Hardcore, because it's his company and he can run it his way and he can be himself the way he wants to be. This next one, I almost vomited the first time I heard it. NXT TakeOver 25 almost happened in Saudi Arabia. I'll give you a second to ponder that one. You done? Okay. NXT TakeOver 25 is tonight. Ringside News will have a full coverage of this as well. They're going to be from the Webster Bank Arena. It turns out that WWE almost went a totally different direction with the show's location. At some fans would have nobody would have. Mike Johnson said a PW Insider Elite, he heard a rumor WWE almost moved the next NXT TakeOver event to Saudi Arabia to make the Super Showdown event a 2-night event, which would have meant that Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai would have happened on this show, by the way. I heard an interesting rumor this week, and that was actually talk that TakeOver was going to take place in Saudi Arabia the night before Super Showdown. I think NXT dodged a bullet by that not taking place, because I think it would have put a heel dimension to the brand, which has always been a babyface brand to the WWE Honor fans. If that was the case, they really dodged a bullet in this one. Are you kidding me? If anybody backstage thought that was a good idea, you need to be fired. If anybody floated out the idea to Triple H that, hey, why don't we take it to Saudi Arabia? Why don't we give those guys a show, the NXT show? Show them what an NXT event is like. One, no, because again, Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai would not be able to happen. Two, those people out there don't give a flying fuck. They don't even probably watch NXT. And three, that would have hurt NXT more than anything. 50% of any show is the crowd. Look at All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing this last Saturday. That crowd brought it to that show. Vegas is not a smart mark town, and of course most people who were there would probably, that crowd felt like the first hour or two of a WrestleMania was how that crowd felt. That crowd brought it. Look at Money in the Bank and how indifferent that crowd was for half of that show. A crowd makes the show great. That's why all the NXT takeovers are so memorable, is because half of the crowd, it's like the matches are great, but if you put those matches, they could be 5-star classics, but if you put them in front of a crowd that doesn't give a shit, it means nothing. It goes from being a 5-star to about a 2.5-star. Crowd is everything. That's why anybody who watches Super Showdown is going to see the crowd just not giving a shit. They're just like, oh my god, we're just sitting here, like, this show is just whatever, we don't care, we're just here to watch it. That would have been bad for NXT. And quite honestly, if I'm anybody who is in NXT, I'm pretty sure Triple H is like, no, we're not doing that. Think anybody whoever thinks Triple H or whoever to put an end to that, because if that would have happened, it would have been Thursday for a takeover. That would have been tonight. Oh, not tonight, but that would have been not tonight. It would have been next Thursday. Absolutely ridiculous. Thank you to whoever just shot that down. Usually we criticize them for taking and throwing away ideas. Whoever came up with this idea, again, you need to be fired. You got to be ashamed of yourself. And I'm glad whoever nipped that in the butt, threw that idea away, because that's a terrible idea. This has been something I've been wondering, why EC3 has been buried on the main roster. On the latest edition of Talk is Jericho, All Elite Wrestling's Jon Moxley went into detail about his WWE departure, asked if he feels like he was buried during his final few months in the company. Moxley revealed that he was unhappy with being booked to lose to newcomer EC3 in a matter of minutes on Raw. Explaining that he didn't mind losing to his real-life friend, he pointed out that fans rejected the win in EC3 because they could see what WWE was doing, and when they had proper matches at house shows the next weekend with Dean fully playing the heel, the audience was still 100% behind him. Whose fault is this? Despite being booked to lose to EC3 for a second time on the Monday night show, Vince learned the fans had rejected EC3 at house shows and changed the finish. You didn't need to change the finish. All you had to do was have EC3 put a microphone in his hand and actually cut a heel promo. Turn EC3 heel, because EC3 is a better heel. Anybody who Impact Wrestling will tell you, EC3 is a pompous prick heel, is a good EC3. EC3 is the babyface that they tried to portray in NXT, didn't work. EC3 is a babyface in TNA, Impact Wrestling, it was 50-50. That was the end of the apparent rivalry, and NXT call-up has been treated like a joke ever since. Common sense says that the reason Vince turned on EC3 was because he doesn't believe he couldn't get over and doesn't see that he booked him incorrectly from the start. The explanation lines up with reports that WWE chairman is unhappy with him, but it's crazy to think that he's been punished for something that's totally out of his control. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Whose fault is that? Vince, as soon as you put that press release out that said Jonathan Good is not resigning his contract, he'll be gone at the end of his contract, which is at the end of April. Everybody, you automatically turn Dean Ambrose babyface right there. He came out, I believe, the next Monday and got a fucking hero's welcome to the show. He was a babyface right then and there. Fans weren't rejecting EC3. They were rejecting the fact that you were trying to bury one of the fan favorites that you've tried to fuck up months before. EC3 versus Dean Ambrose should have been great. If EC3 was a heel and Dean Ambrose was a babyface, EC3 should have been put over, and it shouldn't have just been a one. It shouldn't have. If you notice that match, I remember this match vividly. EC3 put him in a jackknife cover, and usually when you see a jackknife cover, you see the person getting pinned flailing their arms back and forth, trying to get out and play up that oh, I can't get out of this. He put him in that jackknife cover, and Dean Ambrose just sat there, didn't do a damn thing, just let the pin happen, didn't even try to fight it. That means I was like, this is not a work, and he is leaving 110%. That is just pathetic. I'm sorry, but Vince McMahon should be ashamed of himself. You fucked EC3 up from the beginning because you had him go out and beat one of the guys you pushed to the fucking moon for months, for years. One of the guys who's been in the title hunts for years. And you gave this guy a 2.5-minute win over him. If I'm Dean Ambrose, he's booked to beat EC3. You should have thought and said, no, this guy needs to win. Just give us more time to put this guy over. He could play the heel, I could play the babyface, and we'll go from there. EC3 should never have been brought up as a babyface. EC3 should have had a microphone in his hand his first time we saw him, and he should have been cutting promos. EC3 hasn't been seen since the Superstar Shakeup when Braun Strowman killed him, so who really cares now? It's just sad. EC3 was a Vince McMahon type. Could have been great for them. And they buried him. Because Vince McMahon fucked up. That's not EC3's fault. That's Vince McMahon's fault. What is the future of Renee? The future of WWE Raw announcer Renee Young could be in question according to report of Ringside News. Young, who is the husband of AEW's new signee Jon Moxley, appeared on Raw this week in her usual commentary role. There has been some speculation about WWE would handle Young after Moxley made his explosive surprise debut at Double or Nothing 2 nights earlier. WWE in the past has been known for punishing people out of pettiness, and there was some talk about they might do Moxley's wife as to get back at him. Perhaps realizing they could come off badly and the promotion wouldn't have a bad PR disaster on its hands if there was a backlash against any perceived Young burial, WWE refrained from punishing her. However, Ringside News states that WWE officials are currently figuring out what to do with Young due to Vince's unhappiness with the Moxley situation. Apparently, Vince was blindsided and very upset when Moxley debuted for AEW. Vince, you stupid and out of touch. McMahon believed, this is funny. Vince believed the former WWE champion was simply burned out, so going off to make movies in Hollywood before making a WWE return. Moxley on his Talk is Jericho appearance admitted that he lied to Vince in February about being in Hollywood, actually shooting his internet-breaking May 1st return trailer video. Vince has had a reputation for being a micromanaging control freak who always wants to control the narrative of every story. He does not like being taken by surprise, but he was taken aback by the Moxley reveal at Double or Nothing, and now Renee Young could be the one to take the brunt of his anger. Interestingly, Moxley noted on the Jericho podcast that one of the reasons he did not ask for his release or kick the upper fuss prior to his departure was because he was conscious about how it would affect his wife's job. If McMahon and officials decided to be petty, then it may not have made a difference. Here's the thing. Renee Young is 100% untouchable right now. Vince McMahon can try and say anything that he wants. He can try and be as petty as he wants. Anything he does to Renee Young in a negative way is going to hurt WWE exponentially. Stocks are going to go down. Sponsors are going to say, Vince, what the fuck are you doing? You're punishing this. Renee Young is in the best position of her fucking life. She is the first ever full-time female commentator on Monday Night Raw. Her skills are a different story for a different time. We're not going to get into that right now. It would be a PR nightmare if they took her off of commentary for no fucking excuse. Now, if Renee Young came out and said, you know what, I'm stepping down because of my own personal things, and that was the actual 100% truth, then that's a different story. But they are not going to do a damn thing to Renee Young. As I said, Sean Spears showed up in the buy-in casino battle. His fiance or wife is Peyton Royce, one half of the Idiotic. It was just kind of like suspicious the fact that she was the one to take the pinfall in the loss of Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross. That's their way of punishing her for him. Adam Cole, I don't see anything happen to him because he's in NXT. But Renee Young is 100% in no way. Like, they have to have a legitimate 110% reason to take her off commentary or to punish her in any way. They might have, and the only thing I could see them doing is having Michael Cole or Corey Graves take stupid jabs at her, or have a male superstar on guest comedy come on and creep on her. Other than that, they can't do nothing because the sponsors are going to come after WWE and get very, very pissed if they do anything. USA will say something to them. Fox will probably say something to them. The stockholders will say something to them. This is like Renee Young should just sit there and be smiling like they can't fucking touch me. Until my contract runs out, they can't do shit because if they try and do, that's going to piss off a whole lot of people. But Vince McMahon, and we'll talk about it later, wanted Jon Moxley to say something on WWE television that was so bad that he feels like the sponsors would have lost sponsors. All I know is WWE cannot touch Renee Young in any terrible, petty way. And Vince McMahon fucking knows that. Stephanie knows that. Triple H knows that. Shane knows that. The entire fucking board of governors knows that. If Vince McMahon tries to be fucking petty, and he was really that fucking blinded by this, he has no one to blame but himself. Update on the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain have been off television due to Akam being injured, but that's no longer the case. According to Post Wrestling, the tag team Brute is now medically cleared to compete. That means the return can come at any time. Now it's just up to WWE to create the program for the two performers and then choose to reintroduce the duo. It is said the delay has been slightly delayed due to the introduction of the wildcard rule, which is taking up a lot of time for each episode and restricting how many superstars of the roster gets time on television each week. You don't say! If anybody thought the wildcard rule was a good idea, this tells you it's not. The whole reason that the brand split was great in 2016, 17, and 18 was the fact that people like superstars, like lower to upper mid-carders, who won't ever get time if it was one brand with how many superstars are there, they actually get time. Now that the wildcard rule is there, and we see Kofi Kingston acting like a disgraceful champion every single week, we see Roman Reigns on both shows every single week, Daniel Bryan will probably be on those shows every single week. We have the 24/7 rule where the 24/7 champion where R-Truth is on TV every single week. It hurts the young guys and the small guys. The only way somebody like Akam Razor is going to get any time on TV is if they chase after that title, which I don't want to see them do. The tag team champions for Raw haven't been seen on TV in about 3 weeks. It's not good. The 24/7 rule is damaging anybody not named Roman, and it's damaging everybody. One of the things that one of the reasons back in 96, 97 when Thunder started for WCW, one of the reasons Eric Bischoff didn't want to do Thunder in the first place was because that overexposes if you have Kevin Nash, Scott Hall on Monday and Thursday, or I think it was Wednesday, whichever one, that overexposes them. Roman Reigns, Kofi Kingston are being overexposed. Xavier Woods, overexposed. Drew McIntyre, overexposed. Nobody feels special. Nobody feels like a big deal because you see them too often. This was the problem for the last few, from 2011 to 2016, because everybody was on the same branch. You saw the Shield every single time, like Raw and SmackDown from 2012 to 2014. You saw Roman, Seth, Dean every single week on both shows. SmackDown was legitimately a Raw replay show. You saw matches, because Raw has been for 3 hours since 2012. From 2012 to 2016, SmackDown basically was just put what we did on Raw on SmackDown again. If we can't fit it on SmackDown, we'll just do highlight packages. That's all SmackDown was. There was no storyline progression at all on SmackDown. Everything was focused on Monday Night Raw. They brought that brand split in, and it felt better. Guys like AJ Styles, who just came into the company earlier, got a chance to breathe. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins all got a chance to breathe. Braun Strowman got to actually make a character out of himself instead of being a member of the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt became WWE champion going into WrestleMania in 2017. AJ Styles, I don't think AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, or even Jinder Mahal, or Daniel Bryan again, or Kofi Kingston would have ever been WWE champion if the brand split never happened. I don't even think Dean Ambrose would have been champion if they weren't building towards a brand split. It's AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Jinder Mahal, even though I can't stand it, another run for Daniel Bryan, and Kofi Kingston. That Kofi Kingston storyline that we had going into WrestleMania, if there was no brand split, that never happens. Anybody who sits there and is like, oh, just end the brand split. Look at Kofi Kingston. He is your WWE champion. He's had it since WrestleMania. Do you really think he would have been in WWE championship contendership if there was no brand split? If it was just one championship going into WrestleMania, guess who that championship would have been on? That would have been on Brock. Kofi would have been doing something with the New Day, probably goofing around, and he would have had no chance of being WWE champion. So guys like him, guys like Jinder, guys like AJ Styles, who probably would have never been WWE champion without the brand split. Having this wildcard rule hurts. It just needs to end. That's like end the brand split, end the tag team titles on both brands, fuse them, merge the women's divisions, because I don't want the women's divisions merged if you get rid of the wildcard rule. The wildcard rule is hurting the brands, and it's hurting WWE. It's going to hurt WWE. If we get to Fox and they're like, oh, we're ending the brand split, that's going to hurt everybody in the long run. Roman's going to be exposed completely. People are going to be booing him. I'm still saying he's going to be back to being booed by SummerSlam. And with this wildcard rule, it's going to happen. You see too many people, too many times. If we see Roman Reigns wrestle on Monday and we see him wrestle on Tuesday, and then we get to a pay-per-view and we see him wrestle there, that's 3 times in one. That's too much. Way too much. And like I said, like Apollo Crews, Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black have not been seen on WWE's TV in forever for a match. Cedric Alexander has had 1 match. Buddy Murphy hasn't wrestled since the Superstar Shakeup. Aleister Black hasn't wrestled since they moved him to SmackDown Live with Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas. It's just, you having Roman on both shows doesn't help anything. Like, the only big star, and I hope it stays this way, who hasn't moved yet is Seth Rollins. Seth hasn't used the wildcard rule. He's been on Monday Night Raw. Hasn't gone to SmackDown. Hasn't had a reason to. In my opinion, if you want to do this right, if you want to have the stars, Roman fine, Kofi fine, give somebody like give somebody from SmackDown, like a Nakamura, a chance to come over and wrestle somebody on Raw. You have 4 spots. You don't have 4 big stars to use at the time. You could have Roman and Kofi one week. If you want to do Kofi, and if you want to do Roman and Daniel Bryan the next week, that's fine. Give somebody like a Nakamura and a Rusev a chance. Let these undercard guys use the wildcard rule too. If you have, like, especially if you go to SmackDown, you don't need to have like the Usos and like Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch, and then somebody else who's like a big name come over too. Have somebody establish that they're not going to use the wildcard rule. The wildcard rule is nice. That should be like, I'm not going to use the wildcard rule. I'm the Universal Champion. Monday Night Raw is my home. I have no reason to go to SmackDown Live, even if somebody from SmackDown attacks me. They want to come to me, they can come find me. Someone on SmackDown should be like, who's big too. Like, I know Roman's going to be on both shows, but like have Daniel Bryan like, I used the wildcard rule once. I don't need to use it again. I have nothing to prove on Monday Night Raw. I was there to try and win the WWE Championship back. That didn't happen. I'm staying on SmackDown Live. Have at least 1 or 2 big names on both shows established. They're not going on to the other show. You could have like Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton Raw for SmackDown, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, I guess, for Monday Night Raw, and of course Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton for SmackDown. Just so you know, hey, those stars are exclusive to that show. If you want to do something, if you want to do a thing, you could have where only 4 superstars from Raw and only 4 superstars from SmackDown, and only 4 specific superstars can go for a month. Like, so if, say for June, only Roman Reigns, Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, and Rowan can go from SmackDown to Raw, and that's it. There you go. That's it. They're the only, they don't go every single week. Another thing that's hurting the wildcard rule, like WWE for the wildcard rule, is SmackDown's house shows. WWE and I don't know why the stock hasn't dropped below 50. They have canceled the last 4 SmackDown house shows on Monday night. Now, when they go to Fox, this will be a little bit better, a little bit easier for them to do, because SmackDown will end I believe they will end their house show run for the house show loop on Sundays instead of Mondays, so they don't have to do the cancellation. But it's still ridiculous. It's just the wildcard rule's got to go. AOP is not going to, like, AOP is probably not going to be seen on TV except running for the 24/7 rule, and it sucks for them. Continuing on this wildcard rule, almost 50 superstars have been unused in the last 2 or 3 weeks. In a post on Reddit's r/squared circle, user waiting on network punched the numbers on the WWE current main roster, looking at the last 2 weeks of television and not counting existing injuries, WWE has 49 wrestlers under their employ who haven't competed in that period of time. To be fair, the list can be whittled down even further by removing such as Big Show, Rhino, and Aiden English. So that's 46 people. Even with that reduction, there are still quite a few wrestlers left on the sideline, names like Shelton Benjamin, Apollo Crews, and Curtis Axel have barely been factors on TV in months. No, wrestling for the wildcard rule does not count. But there are more notable entries on the list. Current Raw Tag Team Champions Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, the Viking Raiders, Kairi Sane. It is also known without T10 and the Iconics appear regularly Tag Team Champion belts. Buddy Murphy, the former Cruiserweight Champion who lost his belt at WrestleMania, has been gone from TV since his defeat. In the past, you usually say that W has some sort of plan for these seemingly idle talent, but today's environment throws that into question with the implementation of the wildcard rule. Both shows are seeing some of the same wrestlers appear over and over, and problem that brand split is supposed to fix with the rise of better competition, making cutting talent an undesirable outcome as well. It will be interesting to see how WWE tries to correct this seemingly stacked roster. Simple, they won't. They will, and the only way this stacked roster gets trimmed is these superstars let their contracts expire. Now, not everybody who is on the SmackDown roster is going to be like, oh, AEW, I want to go over there. Maybe some of them are like, you know what? I want to go to Japan. Japan looks pretty good. I remember Juice Robinson. I want to go take this guy on. I want to go to Japan. Ring of Honor. I haven't been there in a while. Let's go see what's going on there. It's just, this is not good for WWE. 46 superstars at least. 46 to 50 superstars who haven't seen TV time in 2+ weeks. Absolutely ridiculous. Have they been seen on TV? Yes, but like I said, chasing after the wild card, the 24/7 championship, and wrestling for the 24/7 championship does not fucking count. Unless you have a fucking entrance, you have a decent sized match, and you have an exit, that does not count. But this is absolutely ridiculous. This is what the brand split was supposed to fix. And it worked. WWE just lost. Vince McMahon just was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I don't want to use the brand split. I'm not going to use the brand split. And look where we're at. 40 plus superstars who haven't been used. That's really sad. Speaking of one superstar who hasn't been seen in a while, Sasha Banks. It's been over almost 2 months since Sasha Banks has been off TV. The multi-time WWE Women's Champion was last seen at WrestleMania 35. She barely lost the women's tag team titles to the Idiotics. There have since been reports of her wanting to quit the company. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Sasha Banks and Vince McMahon had a meeting on May 23rd. Things have reportedly gotten better between the two, and while it's not official, she could be back sometime this summer. It was reported a while back that Banks felt frustrated with the WWE's decision to take away her and Bayley's tag team titles at the last minute. The match with the Iconics also featured the teams of Nia Jax and Tamina, along with Natalya and Beth Phoenix. She was under the impression that the duo would have a chance to have a strong run with the titles that they won at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. The hope was that they would help legitimize the titles. She just sent out a cryptic tweet this past week that had included lyrics from rapper Kendrick Lamar, "Dumb It Down" single. It said, "I will conquer my biggest dreams. Once you open the cage, I bet that I will spread my wings." On that tweet was also a picture of her in a swimsuit. She looked fucking hot as hell. I'm just going to say that right now. Why she met with Vince, I'm pretty sure this is of course before Double or Nothing, but I'm sure she's seen what John Moxley did to get out of his deal. He went and did things the right way. Do I blame Sasha Banks for doing what she did? No, it was out of frustration. And it wasn't just out of frustration for 1 week, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. It's been 4+ years that this woman has been frustrated, that this woman has done everything that she has been told to do, and they disrespect her every single time. Maybe Sasha Banks will be back to write out her contract. She signed a new contract last year, so she was I think this is before they started doing 5-year contracts. So Sasha Banks will be in WWE till 2022 at the latest. She's going to be back probably later about SummerSlam time just to write out her contract. She'll take the losses. She'll get her ass kicked left and right. And she's just going to do what she has to do to survive. It's the best way to go. Sasha Banks knows that this is probably, if she does come back, and I don't blame her. And do I expect them to treat her any better? No. Do I expect her to win another championship? Probably not. Or are they going to be sitting out for 2 months almost, for over 2 months? No. I expect her to come back, be jobbed out, until they just feel like, you know what, she's been punished enough, and then we'll see what we can do with her. Sasha Banks, if she wants to stay home, fine. That's what she wants to do. That's her own prerogative. That's what she wants to do. But I see her come. If she does come back, then good on her. Sasha Banks will probably be back around SummerSlam time, and it would not surprise me if she does. I know she wants to leave, but she should be like I'm pretty sure she listened to Jon Moxley's Talk is Jericho this week, and even though that meeting was last week, I'm pretty sure she had a thought of, man, this guy went through a lot of shit too. Maybe I should go back to work, do what I have to do to get through my contract, and then I can leave as well. Because if you look at what Jon Moxley talked about on Talk is Jericho, and the fact he went through all that bullshit, kind of makes Sasha Banks look bad. It does. Because she didn't get her way with the women's tag team titles, and instead of just like, yeah, okay, whatever, and doing her job and going back into WWE, she's like, you know what, I'm just going to go sit home. I don't blame her for doing it. I would want to, like, there would be a part of me who wants to walk out and do it too. So, it would not surprise me if Sasha Banks comes back. And if anyone is like, oh, I lose all respect for her because she came back and after all that, no, I don't lose respect for her. I would actually respect her a lot more because she's going in there, you know what, I have X amount of days left of my deal. I need to get through these. I need to put whoever I can over to make them look good. So when I finally get out of my contract, I can either go to AEW, I can go to Japan if I want to, and I think it's Stardom or Shimmer or whatever that. I can go to the UK if I want to. I can go to Ring of Honor if I want to, and I can make myself a better person. I can go do what I want to do. It might take a lot longer than Jon Moxley, but that's what it is. If she comes back, I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, I lost all respect for her because she was doing the right thing. Maybe she thinks it was the right thing, and maybe she had it like, you know what, especially with this Jon Moxley thing, you know what, I think I'm going to come back. We'll have to wait and find out. I will let you guys know. Now, we have so much to talk about when it comes to Jon Moxley's Talk is Jericho review thing. We're going to split this episode of UnScripted up into 2 parts. I will be doing all Elite Wrestling talk tomorrow. You're going to hear all about Jon Moxley, Joey Ryan, the TV deal, the pay-per-view buys, all of that tomorrow afternoon on UnScripted, part number 72, part number 2. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me Twitter, Facebook, on Twitter, Twitch, and on this YouTube channel at The France Club. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys tonight for NXT TakeOver 25, and I will see you guys tomorrow for UnScripted number 72 AEW edition. Until then, my name is The France, and I will see you guys tonight.